Welcome to Vision Profiles, the podcast for dedicated Apple Vision Pro users. We dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, an associate professor at Kent State University, podcaster and longtime Apple enthusiast.
I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my passion is finding creative ways to share content, currently photography of plants, birds, panoramic sequences, and peacocks. Well, one peacock.
I'm Dave Ginsburg, host of the Intentional OS podcasts. I am an IT professional and iPhone subject matter expert. I'm continually discovering new ways how Apple Vision Pro shapes the future of computing.
So just a reminder for folks, you can follow the live stream at youtube.com/@visionprofiles Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or catch the video later on YouTube or the audio on any podcatcher service. All the links for the show, as long as I can fit them all in, will be in the show notes for both of those, the video version and the audio podcast. So if you want to get these links, go back and look at them. During the show, we'll try and show you a few of them, but from the audio portion, you'll be able to get all the links too. So I'd like to ask all of you how you've been, but for me, I'm going to just say, how have I been? Well, my son's wedding was 2 days ago, and we're still dealing with the remnants of the wedding, the lack of sleep. Last night, we tried to do a Neo Notebook show, and I had all sorts of problems with what I thought was my modem, but turned out to be the router that I didn't reset. And so we skipped that episode of that show. Got up this morning, reset it, and first I got up at 4 o'clock to drive my son and his wife to the airport because they're in Hawaii right now. They just landed, and then the whole day's been, returning stuff on their behalf. So I'm pretty.
You are dedicated.
Yeah, well, no, I'm pathetic is another way. Yeah. The text message from Phoenix was, Dad, the wedding, the small wedding cake that we have is in the refrigerator. Can you go over and wrap it up in saran wrap and then put it in the freezer? That's going to be tomorrow's job. So, yeah.
Just a dedicated fellow you are.
Yeah. How are you guys doing? Anything new?
No, just working, keeping busy. We'll have a special episode coming out on In Touch with iOS very shortly here this week. I did with Don McAllister.
Yeah. Eric, anything new?
Well, I'm wearing my Red Cross blood donation shirt in honor of the large number of mosquitoes that are outside of my doors.
Yeah. I don't miss that. I mean, we're going to get our fair share here where I live, but I'm sure it's worse up where you're at, and maybe even bad where Dave lives too. But
no, we got them going around spraying all the time.
Oh, okay. So
mosquito abatement.
You get to keep your blood, but you get to lose your liver in the process, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah. So things are fine. I'm glad to be kind of back into the swing of stuff. So let's get into the swing of the show. I have not touched my Vision Pro most of the week. I did shoot some spatial video of my son getting married because they asked me to do that, and wound up using lapel mic for him. I wanted. The bride there was no place to really clip it on. She tried putting it there. I guess she just said, no, we'll just use Will's. And Will's picked them both up
nice.
Frighteningly well with the camera set in the distance and focused on them. So, but I haven't run any of that through Vision Pro and seen any spatial aspect of it. And I haven't had my Vision Pro on probably since the last show or before the last show because of all the craziness. However, one of our first articles is it's speculation. It comes out of 9to5 Mac, and I don't really have as much issues with 9to5 Mac. But what they're talking about here is that visionOS 27 will bring these new Vision Pro upgrades, and it's a report from 9to5 Mac. And this comes per Bloomberg. visionOS 27 will be lighter on new features. The Gurmanator will be lighter on new features than visionOS 26. Instead of prioritizing performance, bug fixes, and parity with iOS 27, iPad OS 27, and Mac OS 27. So meaning Vision Pro owners can expect a new AI editing tool, improved S-Lady features, and other platform-wide enhancements coming with this WWDC cycle. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this article. I thought, I didn't have too much problems with it. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with WWDC. Dave?
Yeah, it's, again, more features. I mean, that's good to hear. We really haven't seen much, even going through the beta cycle, that they've done at all. So why not? I mean, with the S-Lady coming and maybe AI enhancements is going to be great. And they always say bug fixes and performance improvements. I mean, that's their typical mantra of saying everything. We have bug fixes and performance improvements. And then you got iOS 26.5 just came out today, and there's 50 security bugs that were fixed in that one. So, but there was nothing in Vision Pro. We didn't even get a release because the RC was the final. So,
yeah. Eric, you holding out on any of this?
Well, those of us who don't run betas, we're really happy to get an update today. So, yeah, it was exciting. It was different. It incremented by one number. All of OS 27 is just going to be some minor bug fixes, patches, and improvements. But some of them I think will be much bigger than others as they just kind of fix some of the wedging in of the new interface changes that they did. Not having explicit advertised visionOS specific features. I guess I don't see that as a problem. I think there will be some, and coding wise, I expect WWDC to be talking about kind of finishing out a bunch of changes. The changes they did for gaming recently are pretty big, so I expect some game announcements, and some of the beta software will come out in final. So this might actually, I will go out on a limb and say that when it comes to being able to game, and interest from gamers will be higher this year than ever before.
So do you think that's, I'm thinking of what came out in 26. We had the foveated stuff. We had the NVIDIA connection and the gaming connection that came out in 2026. Not exactly stuff that's up my alley. And thinking of other things that could be done that didn't happen. I'm not going to regret that, but the gaming piece seemed to be a big thing. And then the second thing we kept hearing about was subscriptions and the option for getting regular billing on your subscriptions and committing for a year versus having to pay a whole year at once or pay month by month. So that was, for me, that was kind of the two things I can remember out of visionOS 26. And it seemed like the second part, they spent the second part of beta 4 and beta 5 basically just trying to fix up the subscription piece, which from the front end user doesn't really mean much until you get in it. Yeah.
But the fact that just came out means that we really haven't seen anything happen with it yet.
Yeah.
So, even if it's not a visionOS 27 feature, the fact that the tail end of 26 capabilities get adopted, as 27 is coming out and being shown, that's still new. And I expect a lot more content. They did a lot of work on training people how to film immersive content, how to work with audio, and I think that will continue. And then out of all of the platforms, visionOS still does the best at voice recognition. With the placement right on your face and mics aimed exactly right. When you say something, it recognizes it correctly. So if you're going to do, speaking to Siri or somebody, speaking to the S lady or someone else, I expect it to be more accurate on a Vision Pro.
Okay. So I'm going to ask for Eric and Dave's help with this, because Eric just brought this article in today that is part of Daring Fireball. According to what I've heard at WWDC, they're going to have a cage match to the death with John Gruber and also Mark Gurman, because they have been not firing shots across the bow. They have been firing shots directly at the bow. And there is a new article post that came out on Daring Fireball with John Gruber. And Eric, why don't you give a little background of this and so far what you know?
Yeah, it's mostly pointing out that there are revelations made on a consistent basis from Gurman that shortly after they're made turn out to not actually be true. Yet other news coverage picks that up, repeats it, magnifies it. Everybody starts speculating on what it means, and there's a whole lot of time, energy, and effort about it. One of the things that had come up recently is, is the Vision Pro going to go away, or is it stopped, or whatever? And how is that going to affect? And if you're a game developer, or you're somebody else just kind of getting into it, having somebody come out and publish a whole pile of articles saying, yeah, they're going to take a different direction, potentially affects the market. So this is kind of saying, well, when it comes to display technology, when it comes to visionOS, if you keep making broad statements about direction and where things are going that turn out to be really wrong, that, well, he's pointing it out on Daring Fireball with a bunch of examples.
Yeah, and and I love the title of this post. Tahoe's UI issue may have nothing to do with display technology, and maybe, just maybe, we should stop assuming Gurman knows anything about Apple's Vision hardware roadmap.
So he thinks he does.
Yeah. And so, what I've learned from this article is that Gurman needs to have his own little Polymarket page so we can bet on when things are going to when he's going to change direction on it. Because we have a couple of articles in here that in this issue that kind of show the change in direction within a matter of weeks. And I think it was kind of, those articles were based on, well, it came from MacRumors to begin with. So MacRumors quick to pick up everything and publish it without any wait, so you can get the worst information sooner. And that's important. If you're going to get bad information, get it sooner. And just within a 2-week period, they went from Vision Pro is dead to, well, it looks like they're planning now on doing another Vision Pro 2. So what is it? And it's, as Eric, I think you described it really well. The other media pick up on this, and then it gets thrown out there and it gets magnified to a degree. And, if I'm Mark Gurman, I'm sitting there just rubbing my hands going, I got them again. Still on the throne. So, Dave, you have any reflections on this?
No, I just agree with you with the fact that Gurman just thinks he knows it all, and we're maybe we're a little biased because of our passion for Vision Pro, but don't you're Gurman. You're known for having good rumors, and usually he's right. But then he starts doing this stuff, and it just you start to question him a little bit.
Yeah. Well, a series of articles along that route that we have in show notes. This came out just this week from Apple Post, or the Apple Post. Apple halts work on Vision Pro as teams shift focus, as the report claims. Yeah, we did hear people were moved from Vision to more towards glasses. And focusing on that, but that's without saying that the Vision Pro is, you can say that without saying the Vision Pro is a flop. And then another one from Apple Post, Apple's lack of cheaper headset may be behind the reported Apple Vision Pro pause, that we haven't been able to get the Apple Vision Air. Or they haven't been able to get the Apple Vision Air out, which was never even discussed in the timeline. Then we have Gurman's article. Gurman, a new Apple Vision Pro won't arrive for at least 2 years. This comes after saying Apple has given up on the Vision Pro after M5 refresh was a flop. Came out of MacRumors, and this one just came out of MacRumors. So back and forth. And then finally, a new Apple Vision Pro release date. Why the true successor is years away. And this comes out of Virtual Reality News. Again, pulled from Mark Gurman's. Mark Gurman reported last October that Apple has shelved its only known Vision Pro Successor project and redirected staff towards smart glasses. That's saying that the smart glasses aren't a Vision Pro successor, which I think is kind of. And then one of the articles said, we're looking for a true consumer item. Like, we want a Vision Pro that's a consumer item. It's like the Vision Pro, I don't think was ever intended to be a consumer item. So you can keep waiting for that consumer item, a Vision Pro consumer item version. So, yeah. So, some interesting articles along the lines of, I love this because I hear this and I think of Monty Python. Not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. Apple Vision still has a future. And this is coming out of Apple Insider. And this whole kind of section is on defending Vision Pro's future. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have comments on this. This gives the timeline in this article about when it happened and how things went. And then some of the current comments by Jaws and that it's a peek into the future. This is just April 15th, 2026, and on April 29. Rumors appear to suggest Apple had given up on it on Apple Vision Pro, and the entire Vision Products group was dissolved. So, and then this, which I think is probably one of the most biting articles. The title was another one. Mark Gurman has been burying the Apple Vision Pro since before it shipped, and I'm out of patience. And the graphic has, I think, a knife going through a Vision Pro with X's where the eyes are, for folks who aren't looking. The subtitle on this, this is coming from Front Row, and 3-year funeral documented, and talking about the 3 years. 6 months before the device had shipped, the Financial Times reported that Apple had been forced to cut production targets. And then April 2024, 2 months after launch, Ming-Chi Kuo's blog declared that Apple had lowered forecasts. Gurman, Bloomberg, the Apple Vision Pro has gotten off to a slow start, spurring management to rethink its plans for the device. Meanwhile, sales are pacing with supply chains. Apple reassigns Mark Rockwell to head of Vision Products, the head of the Vision Products group to the Siri team. Gurman drops. Apple stops work on lighter version of Vision Pro to fast-track AI smart glasses. Like the AI smart glasses can't be the lighter version of the Vision Pro. Or, conversely, waiting for the technology to be available so they can work on the lighter version of the Vision Pro. Whereas the glasses technology could be something that they could be working on. So, yeah, this is a pretty interesting article. And then they talk about math. Some prior reports indicated that Sony only had the capability of making about 1 million panels a year, thereby capping Vision Pro sales potentially to around 500,000 per annum. Don't take my word, take Gruber's.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fun article. And he goes into analysis of what was happening. And one of the issues with this article that that the author talked about was when you do this, what happens is and Eric said this too, producers of material lose faith in the product line, or it's like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm making material and you've just kind of screwed up my business by doing such. Did I get that right, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, if you put out lots of news stories saying that a product is going away, then why would people want to produce content for it? And the reality is that the OS keeps improving. The instructions to be able to generate the content have only recently really been clear. Multiple camera choices have only recently become available. Out of all of the headsets that are out there, the Vision Pro still gives you kind of the best resolution to kind of generate and build content, whether you're building it for Vision Pro or building it for anything else. So I think that it's there's no other good option for doing what the Vision Pro does. And to produce content, you really need the Vision Pro. There isn't another option that you can slide in there. A lot of people are saying, oh, glasses will save the consumer market and everyone will just buy glasses. But I don't think you can do all the immersive video stuff with glasses.
Right.
It's going to be a different product. It's going to deliver different features. It's not going to deliver everything in a Vision Pro in a set of glasses. And I don't think the articles are not really clear about that. And the fact that gamers are starting to become interested to the point where, my daughter showed up and kidnapped my Vision Pro for a few days. I see that as a good sign.
Did she leave a note, with letters cut out of newspaper headlines?
Don't look for me.
And if you contact the police,
you'll never see your Vision Pro again. The peacock is watching, so don't do anything. Yeah. It's
so is she trying to see how it works with gaming?
So she does some gaming. She's got a bunch of friends that do some gaming. And, I stopped by, I don't know, a few weeks ago to kind of try a couple of the software packages that we were mentioning. And they looked at it a little bit and, kind of started to work, but they needed more time. But there was enough interest when they looked at it, and the resolution they were seeing in the headset was good enough. That they're going to spend 3 days trying everything they possibly can with it to get a good feel for what can it do, what can it not do. Can they manage to find a used Vision Pro that they can acquire so that they can have one more frequently? Do they need to get a brand new one? Just starting to look at it, and up until now. Yeah, they would kind of maybe try for 10, 15 minutes, kind of like the Apple demo type of thing. But I hadn't seen the interest in actually using it, over time.
Yeah.
That's new.
Yep.
One final article in this whole area that I want to talk about, and you have to kind of log in or subscribe to it. This was an article that the title simply says, this is Mark Gurman saying, I'm right and Horace Dediu is wrong about the Apple Vision Pro. Mark Gurman claims Apple's dissolved the Vision Pro group in 2025. That contradicts facts that the group is still active and hiring new employees as of April 27th, 2026. Simcoe's Horace Dediu. I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong. I don't know if there are any thoughts or any reactions to that, but I just love a good pissing contest. It's always fun to watch this happen and see how it all resolves. Really, the fun part is when Apple announces what they're doing or what they're not doing, and those folks suddenly forget, as many of the articles did. Many of the articles talk about how this is going to be dead, and very few are turning back, or they're just publishing an article that says, hey, guess what? It's going to happen in 2028. Like they have, and they have a memory loss in what they just published a week or two ago regarding, and no humility around it. So we've got some folks in the chat room. We have Stadler and Waldorf, and we also have Gary Witt in the chat room joining us at youtube.com/@visionprofiles, doing the live chat with us and questions about who is this guy, Horace, anyways. Apple Vision Pro environments make the Galaxy XR feel empty. So this is a Reddit post from someone who has a Galaxy XR like I do and feels like the Apple Vision Pro environments compared to what XR has really makes them makes Apple shows the Vision Pro ahead of it. Immersive environments on Vision Pro honestly look amazing, especially in the cinema and landscape ones. I'm wondering if anyone has found a way to use them on Galaxy XR somehow, maybe through side loading, custom apps, ports, mods, or even similar downloadable environments. And they actually, later on in this Reddit thread, there are some environments described in terms of how to get them on Vision Pro. So some jealousy from folks who are using Vision Pro. This one I thought was pretty cool. It appeared 2 days ago. I spent a month filming Europe in 8K VR 180 just to push the Vision Pro to its absolute limits. The realism is getting dangerously close to teleportation. So, Eric, I don't know if you took a look at this one.
I would have. But it's going to take me a few days.
Yeah, I'll be dropping a brand new immersive episode every single weekend. Coming up next, Lisbon, Porto, maybe means Portugal, Valencia, Mallorca. So apparently has done these, and the link to be able to watch these on YouTube or DOVR, DEOVR, is also in this Reddit post. So this link will be in our show notes. You can go to the Reddit post and you can get to the link to where you can see some of these videos that the person has done.
And you need the other link to get the high resolution version.
The
you don't want to watch
link is
because you don't want to be trying to watch that out of YouTube. Because if you've got an M2 Vision Pro, that doesn't work.
Oh, yep. This is go ahead, Dave.
No, I said yep.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah. The places they pick are really nice.
It looks like Italy.
This is Ponte Piedade.
Mm.
Quite fabulous.
Yeah. This is Carboeo, cliffside town. Oh, and then it has buttons to launch it in your headset. I am pausing back. I'm pulling back on this.
And this is just on the internet. You're just showing it through a browser.
Yeah, I'm just. I'm going to skip ahead and see what else we've got up here. There is a little thing here where I can.
The chat room is getting sick, so we might have to.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I'm getting nauseous, Stadler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and if Piper has information after doing her gaming analysis, I will capture that.
Okay, that's good. And maybe I did it intentionally to make you sick. This was the master plan that I had to do that. That is cool, and we will have that link to the post. Within there, you have, as was pointed out by Eric, you have a YouTube link. It's Watch 8K on YouTube, or if you want to play around with like I did with the video, then go to the DOVR link that's in there, DEOVR link, and you can make Statler and Waldorf sick.
If you have an M2 Vision Pro, don't bother with YouTube.
Yeah.
Do the other one, because the AV1 encoded video won't play on the M2.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so what else do we have? I showed that. We mentioned this last week, that a post about sim racing that came up again 2 days ago, and this time in Reddit, with Apple Vision Pro enters the mixed reality racing space somewhat. So you too can be Brad Pitt in F1 if you want to. That's what the shots look like. Very cool.
And the point it's making again is that you can cut out the area where your controls are. So you get the simulation and you can see your controls. So it feels a little more real.
Yeah. Cool. Samsung patents. Oh, we're getting into a couple of patent articles. Dave, these are just for you.
For you too.
Yeah. Samsung patents an AR feature that Apple Vision Pro users need. According to the newly discovered Samsung patent, the company is developing an AR system that can dynamically adjust the level of immersion of virtual objects based on what's happening around you in the real world, and make decisions doing that. So their figure, which you can't see in the video audio version of the show, but in the video version of the show, the figure is an exciting pair of glasses with, I don't know, probably 50 or 60 numbers around it, going from 202 to 260, maybe. 20, yeah. The patent describes the wearable device, likely smart glasses, that adjust the immersion level of virtual objects depending on your surroundings, your posture, and how you interact with virtual content. So, all kind of interesting stuff. And then a second article that covers some of the same things. This comes out of Patently Apple. Apple explores advanced optical enclosures for future Vision Pro and smart glasses. And this article does a good job, I think, of looking at the latest information regarding what Apple is doing or could be doing. Precision optical system built around the human eye, low reference coatings to improve visual fidelity, or low reflectance coatings. And then Apple specifies coatings with less than 4% reflectance in the visual spectrum and less than 5% reflectance in the near infrared wavelengths. Unibody optical enclosure. Yeah, so this is a statement about the patent references eye tracking, adjustable optical assemblies, mixed reality environments, display alignment systems, and real-world visual overlays. So those are a couple of patent pieces. That one with the Galaxy XR, I don't really understand how they say that's that Apple should necessarily pick up on that, because some of the stuff it looks like we've seen in patents that Apple has filed already anyways. So
I'm sure it'll come out in a future argument. That second reference, though, is interesting because a lot of the pieces, a lot of those components are necessary to have adjustments to give you a better accuracy in the depth. So adjusting distance between the pupils, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if they can slide things on a track so that it is more accurate for more faces, that'll be a huge improvement. And maybe they can even get it to the point that for a lot of people, they won't need optical inserts.
Yeah.
I'm sure I still will, but having it so that readers are built in or something like that would be nice. A nice improvement.
This is our medical minute that folks are waiting for, and it's something that we've already, in a sense, talked about. But this is an actual published article with, of course, U.S. government does not review or approve the safety and science of all the studies listed in this website. So the U.S. government doesn't approve science. We know that, or the studies in this article. This comes out of the Second People's Hospital of Huinan. Zhaozhou Second People's Hospital is the responsible party in Apple Vision Pro assisted vascular identification in lung surgery. So, interesting kind of concept. My wife had gone through some vascular stuff that required lung surgery. And so the study so catching this article I thought was kind of cool. And the study basically is testing whether a new mixed reality and head-mounted display, the Apple Vision Pro, can help surgeons see blood vessels more clearly during lung surgery. During the operation, doctors usually need to identify and protect important blood vessels to avoid bleeding. In this study, surgeons wear an Apple Vision Pro device which shows 3D images of the lungs and the blood vessels. This may help them find vessels more accurately and make surgery safer. Participants scheduled for lung surgery at the Huinan Second People's Hospital will be invited to join. Before the operation, participants will have a CT scan. During the surgery, doctors will use the device while performing the procedure. So, study doesn't change any natural standard surgical steps, but it does give more information and hopefully more success with that. So, pretty cool. But the U.S. government does not review or approve the safety and science of all the studies listed on this website because it's the National Center for Biotechnology Information, and this is clinicaltrials.gov. But they got an issue with the Second People's Hospital of Huinan. So what can you say?
Not much.
I don't know if you guys have any apps. I put one in, but we talked about it a bit in the last show, which was Tetris and 12 classic arcade games are now available on the Vision Pro. So it's Retrocade. And we've talked about Retrocade when it first came out, but I guess Tetris was now added to it recently as another arcade game that you could play with it. And we mentioned that. We'll have the link in there anyways. It's from Bleeding Cool, which I think is a neat name for a website, come to think of it. BleedingCool.com. We're cool and we make money. .com.
Yes.
So, Eric, you mentioned this, and I think it's a question for all of us, and we don't necessarily talk about it, but the best way to use windowing in your Vision Pro. That's what I got from your text message, and I said we'll talk about this tonight. So I'm going to give you a lead on this. And I had some thoughts about how I use Windows in it, and in it, and maybe Dave has how he likes to use Windows when using displays. Eric?
So one of the things that comes up, especially with new users of the Vision Pro, is, I tried it, I worked on it, and I can only use it for 10 minutes, or I can only use it for 15 minutes. And I have pressure on my head, or I have pressure, on my cheeks, or my neck gets sore, and so I was trying over a couple of weeks, sitting in different positions, and because I use my Vision Pro for an extended time, hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, with virtual desktop. And so then I started keeping track of where do I put my windows, if I'm watching a movie, how do I set it up? And whenever I felt uncomfortable, then I made note of where I put things. And so what I ended up discovering is, for the Mac Virtual Desktop, it pops a window up and kind of wraps it around you fairly close. So the first thing I do is I grab that window and I push it out away from me. So instead of being curved, it kind of flattens out a little bit. But then I also bring it down so the bottom part of the window almost drops into the floor a tiny bit, because I discovered when I'm sitting, if I'm looking down a little bit, so like if it's a real monitor, you would set it on a table. It certainly wouldn't be partway into the floor, but a virtual display, you can put it virtually anywhere in space. And if I drop it down a little bit into the floor, then I find that my head is more balanced. In contrast, I tried taking a movie and moving it way up on the higher on the wall, kind of up into the ceiling, because I thought, like if I had a mounted TV on the wall, I might have to have it up above everything else that's on that wall, because that's where the open space is. And then kind of lean back on the sofa and rest my head and then look up. And then what I discovered is I ended up with a sore neck and kind of more pressure on the head, or more pressure on the cheeks, depending on how which straps were tight or whatever. If I then brought the window back down again, or even brought it a little bit lower, so that, I was almost looking down a little bit. Mm-hmm. For me, it ended up being a much more comfortable position, and I could push it further out if I needed it bigger, but it wasn't kind of where I was expecting a physical display to go. And I realized that in a lot of cases, I don't think people are trying moving the display, because that's not really what you're thinking about. So if you have problems with pressure on your forehead, pressure on the cheeks, maybe take whatever you're viewing and then dropping it down a little bit, or pushing it away and dropping it down. Maybe that would improve things. People might have a different spot that works for them, but it switched from, noticing I was wearing a headset in 15 minutes to being able to spend hours without really noticing. Sometimes you notice a heat buildup, but that's really the only issue I have now.
Okay. Thanks for explaining that. And I'm going to ask Dave to talk a little bit about how he uses windowing or virtual display. And I'll tell you my piece on it after that. But, Dave, do you have any preferences on how to manage windows, or how you manage multiple windows, or if you're using a virtual display, how that works out?
I mean, I don't use it anymore as much as Eric does. I mean, hours on end. I might get a little tired after a while. Your eyes get sore, but. Maybe about an hour. I would go probably max about an hour, but I bounce around between the largest display, and it just becomes a little too big for me, and then go to the next one down, and then that's probably my sweet spot, because I use a 34 inch screen now all the time, so I'm used to it. So as far as that goes, yeah. Windows, I still have to get used to opening, closing apps, and moving windows around. And when you're doing spatial video, it goes full screen, so you don't see it. We got apps like the MLB app, which they keep changing it, and it's still not great the way it presents the games live. You'll get a better view on when you watch recorded games, but that's just another example. But Windows, I move them around. I mean, you have such a big space that you can move it behind you, up and above, and wherever, or you want to kind of stack them in the area. That's what I would probably do most of the time, is just move them places. So that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, weird enough for me is I don't use a lot of Windows Virtual Display because I'm generally out of this room and not sitting in front of a computer to be able to virtual display out. If I'm doing productivity on it, I have a tendency just to use the apps that I have available for me on the Vision Pro. So when I was trying to think of this question, virtual display, it's hard for me to say how I use stuff. I would use it the same way I would use it as a window, as it is with the window display. I have 3 monitors in this office, so certain things go on certain monitors. So in the middle is all the action. So like the middle monitor is a nice high-res monitor that I have, and that's where I run Ecamm off of and run the show with. To the right is information that's supplemental. Things that I might need to or want to look at and glance at for reference. To the left, on the left monitor, is information that I need to work on whatever I'm working on the main monitor. So with this show, all of the website stuff that comes up in the video version is on the left monitor, and I keep the chat room running and the live feed running on the right monitor, and check the right monitor for when people have put things in and see that. That's how it gets kind of transformed when I'm working with just the Vision headset and not doing virtual display. I have a tendency to put material that is just information. It could be my schedule for the day. It could be OmniFocus and the things I have to work on. That's to the right. So calendar, OmniFocus to the right. Material that I have to use as reference material, maybe stuff from Safari or stuff from some documents that I have, go to the right of this 180 virtual screen, and whatever I'm actually producing winds up in the middle. That changes only in the sense that I'm thinking what Dave just said. That changes for me when I'm just using it as an entertainment device. Mm-hmm. This comes from sort of my years in college avoiding having to do English composition courses by taking film studies courses instead. And one of the things that I remember, and I still use it to this day, is how far back do you sit when you're in a theater? And that defines how big my screen is. So the trick is if you're watching video or watching some sort of media, is I keep walking down the aisle until the screen touches and I'm looking at the center of the screen, till the screen hits the peripheral of my vision, because I don't want to be so close that I'm doing this, or with the headset on, rolling my eyes around a lot to see what's going in different parts of the screen. So the screen, if the screen has a lot of framing around it, then I make the screen bigger so I have it in complete field of vision. And so that's how I watch media. I could make it much bigger. I could run it from my MacBook Pro and do the wraparound thing. That's really cool. But that still means I'm moving my eyes all around the screen to catch whatever's going on in the corners of the media. And for that's not how the director intended you to watch films or video. So those are my kind of uses of where things go when I have windowed pieces on my Vision Pro with it. Do
you have a background behind your movie? Do you put Jupiter or a mountain or anything?
Typically not. I use. I know that having the what do they call it? The cinema view in it is pretty cool. You have you're completely blacked out around with it. That's good, but there's too much going on in my environment with the dog and other things that I need to have. And rarely do I get disturbed from that, but still, I don't want to be so immersive that I can't be with it. So
I find if I turn the environment on so it just is slightly wider than the screen of whatever I'm watching. So if I look turn and look right and left, I can see what's really there. But then I get a consistent background behind whatever I'm watching, and there are fewer reflections.
Yeah,
it gives me a higher quality screen. And then I have it set so that if somebody walks up, they break through. So there's like a cutout area around the person so I can see that they're there. I did that after I discovered that, a cold, wet dog nose showed up and totally surprised me because I was in an isolated hill. So now when they come walking towards me, it breaks through.
Well, yeah. Dave, you have anything else to add to this?
No, not really. I think what I pretty much said what I could say with this.
Yeah. Okay.
So, one last thing, and that is that if you use the ultra-wide display, sit in a chair that rotates.
Oh, that you can swivel.
Because I tend to concentrate on 2 pages of information at a time, and usually I use the left side of the left to 2 columns, and I can move the display back and forth. But if I'm sitting in a chair that pivots, I just rotate to the sections I'm wanting because I'm doing updates or something and I want to keep an eye on it. So I want it on the screen. It's just not important.
Yeah, a couple of comments I'm going to throw in from Statler and Waldorf. I don't think you can resize it larger than your peripheral. I wish you could. They limit the screen size pretty small for the virtual screen. I want an outdoor theater size. And another comment, it's kind of wild. The only IMAX size screen is in the IMAX app. So a couple of good points in terms of that.
You can get it slightly bigger. So if you push it out as far away from you as you can get it, that gives you the default. But if you stand up, pick up the screen, and then walk forward towards your wall, you can get that same size again, in front of you, and then leave it there, and then walk all the way back to your seat. And you'll get a size that's larger than what you would get if you just did, pushing it away from you.
Cool. As we are speaking, my son and his new wife, have just landed in Hawaii, and they're already sending me pictures.
To rub it in.
And it's no, not to rub it in. It's sort of like, son, this is your honeymoon. I'll see the pictures later. This is just a little too much. I know you're excited. So we'll see.
Are they immersive? If they could do some immersive ones, and maybe not, a couple of...
Yeah, when he got out of the car at the airport, his phone fell out of his lap and hit the cement.
Wow.
And he picked it up and he looked at it, and then while in his layover airport, he's asking me questions about the the difference between the video on an iPhone 17 and an iPhone 15. And I was like, son, did you ruin your phone when you dropped it? And he said, no, I was just curious. So I don't know what kind of pictures we're going to get in terms of that, but that's here nor there. Too much of a sidebar on that, but he apparently is excited with his bride, and that's I hope good. They don't send me pictures of everything. Let's just keep it at that. So let's find out where we can find you. We'll close the show up for now. Dave, where can we find you?
You can find me at InTouchWithIOS, InTouchWithIOS.com, and YouTube channel, youtube.com/InTouchWithIOS. Neo Notebook, when it doesn't crash, on Sunday nights. Monday nights here, Vision Profiles. Tuesday nights, Mac Voices Live. Thursday nights, In Touch with iOS recording. With Friday, Mac Show on the British Tech Network. And Dave G65 on Blue Sky and Mastodon.
All right. Eric.
Well, I'm either outside swatting mosquitoes, or you can find me on Mastodon at eabolden@mas.co. Otherwise, the Neo Notebook Sundays, Mondays here on Vision Profiles, Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live, and Thursdays on In Touch with iOS.
And for me, all the same places that those guys have mentioned: Neo Notebook Sundays, Vision Profiles Mondays, both at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, live streamed, and then In Touch with iOS with In Touch with iOS with Dave on Thursday. However, Mac Voices on Tuesday with Chuck Joyner, both 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And so an hour earlier from when we usually record these shows. British Tech Network and the Mac shows on Friday morning, and all the other stuff that I do is on thepodtalk.net. So check out the website, thepodtalk.net. When Will finally makes it home 14 days from now, maybe we can record another Gear Up and Go show, and we'll hear about, well, maybe not all the exciting things that happened on his honeymoon, but we'll hear about the tech gear and the tech issues that he might or might not have had while island hopping in Hawaii. So thanks to everybody in the chat room, Statler and Waldorf, and we had other folks watching and part of the chat room, including early on
Gary.
Yeah. Who? Gary. Oh, yeah. Gary was in there. Yeah. So thanks for watching and listening. Don't be shy, because God knows Statler and Waldorf are not shy.
No, they're not.
It's sort of like, do I post this? Is it relevant at this point? Or is he or she just nagging me, which is fine. That's cool. I'm glad they're here. Whatever trips your trigger is great. Please don't take offense. Well, yeah, go ahead, take offense of what I just said, but continue to join us and have some fun with the chat room. Just a reminder, MacStock is coming up July 9th through the 12th. July 9th is going to be the eCam day, where they'll have a training on eCam, and then the 10th, 11th, and 12th is the full swing, many presentations. Dave is doing one, I'm doing one, Chuck Joyner's doing one, Jeff Gammett's doing one, Jill McKinley's doing one. And so some of the people you listen to on podcasts or see on podcasts will be part of MacStock, and it's always great. So go to MacStockConference.com to see the lineup, maybe even consider buying a ticket to it. And if you put Pod Talk in the when you go to pay, you'll get $50 off the cost. So thanks for listening to this show, and take a look at MacStockConference.com to see all the fun and I don't know if Mike's posted the calendar yet for it. No, nope. Dave says no, but that'll come up and you'll see the different talks that are being done. We're going to have David Pogue there for one evening where he's going to talk about 50 years of Apple and kind of do I believe a fun retrospective for one of the evenings. So that'll be very cool. Friday night. So that'll be all sorts of fun. I'm doing something
on
Saturday night. Yeah. Musical? I like musicals. Just don't ask me to sing along. I think we ought to all bring kazoos, though. That's kind of my new thing. That would be like, let's just get a bunch of kazoos, and we'll see what happens with that. So check out MacStockConference.com and see what you could be at or what you might be missing with that. Follow the live stream on youtube.com/@visionprofiles Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Catch the video later on YouTube with all of the links put in the show notes for that, or just listen to the audio podcast. The links will be in the show notes for that too. We'd love to hear from you and from our listeners. If you have ideas, feedback, or want to join a future episode, reach out to us at the podtalknetwork@gmail.com. Again, you can learn more about the shows that we do at thepodtalk.net. Thanks for tuning in to Vision Profiles. Spread the word to other visionaries, and we'll see you next time.